People that lean more anxious when it comes to attachment style in relationships are one of the most vulnerable groups for both meeting narcissists and also staying in the narcissistic relationships for way too long and being that ultimate narcissistic supply. Listen, everyone is vulnerable because narcissists will find something to exploit, whether it's timing, hope, loyalty, trust, empathy, name it. But people with anxious attachment style already come in a relationship with pretty low self-worth plus desperation for a relationship. Here is where things get tricky for people with anxious attachment style. You already feel like you're not heard or seen by your caregivers, and you have this yearning to be with someone who will be close to you, who will see you, who will appreciate you. And what happens in love bombing? Narcissists will tell you exactly what you want to hear, and it will be so intense. It will feel like a soulmate. And to a person with anxious attachment style, this feels like something they've been waiting all their life. This is why that initial idealization phase feels like powerful drug that you just want more of it. That's why the love bombing, the idealization phase becomes such a powerful initial attachment that many people have a really hard time not forgetting and also going back to as a reason why you're staying in relationships. Let's talk about the devaluing state. So narcissists love baiting people towards having them react so they can feel powerful. They can point out to you that you're the weak one. Because they're unable to deal with their own emotions, they will project them all on you. And let's talk about anxiously attachment people and reactivity. You're more likely to have explosive reactions. So from narcissistic standpoint, so for little work, they get like huge reward because the more severe and explosive you're reacting, the more supply they're getting. They feel so powerful that they can get you to that point where you feel like this is like life and death situation. And unfortunately, to a lot of anxiously attached people, because of the abandonment wound, it feels like a life and death situation. So this is why that is so volatile, where they will constantly bait you and have you explosively react. Because narcissists do not have empathy towards you, and they find it very rewarding to get a lot of value for little work, meaning like they don't have to do a lot of baiting to get person with anxiously attached style to react. They feel they get a lot of supply for little work, so it's incentive to keep going. Then the next phase is also very problematic for person with anxious attachment style because it's common that people tend to threaten to leave but not actually leave, which gives narcissists permission to keep going. And also they know that they can just throw a little bit of false hope. There's that breadcrumb that they'll show you when you are really threatening to leave, and you'll be right back. A little bit of hoovering, and that, highs and low cycle just keeps repeating. And that highs and low cycle is deepening the trauma bond that you experience. And trauma bond is all about making sense of the highs and lows, and then with those lows, rationalizing the lows with things like, I know he loves me, but I'm very needy. That kind of brings another point is where anxiously attached people are more likely to want to blame themselves for what's happening in that relationships, and they will believe gaslighting and lies more. In the end, to summarize, people with anxious attachment style just have a lot of openings for narcissistic abuse, And it's in particular important to work on healing, especially if you are out of toxic relationship. One of the worst things that you can do to yourself is to go right back into another relationship when you didn't actually look at these areas and work on healing, because it right away puts you in disadvantage for another relationship where you will get abused. And at some point, you have to stop that toxic cycle by looking at some of these areas internally that need some extra love that will come from you and not person from the outside.